Every conflict is a trap, every accusation, a setup, and the quickest way to lose the game is to play by their rules. When they attack you, they aren't looking for truth. They're hunting for weakness. They want to pull you into the mud and drown you in your own reactions. But here's the hidden power law no one teaches you. You never win by defending yourself, because defense puts you on trial. Defense makes you look guilty. Defense hands them the power and strips it from you. Do you think kings defend themselves to peasants? Do you think lions explain themselves to jackals? They stay silent, or they devour, but they never defend. The moment you explain, you submit. The moment you justify, you shrink. The moment you defend, you surrender the throne. The highest power is stillness. The ultimate weapon is composure. The game is not about convincing, it's about controlling. When you master this, you no longer play defense. You force the world to orbit around your indifference. And when you understand this, everything changes. There is a silent instinct inside every weak person, the urge to defend. It's automatic, it's immediate, it's fatal. You feel accused, and before you even think, you react. You explain. You justify. You scramble to prove your innocence. And in doing so, you do exactly what your opponent wants. You play into their hands. You step directly into the trap. Why? Because you've been conditioned since childhood to believe defending yourself is noble. You were trained to think, if I explain myself, they will understand. If I clear it up, they will respect me. If I show them the truth, they will back down. This is the lie of the powerless. Reality doesn't care about fairness. People don't want the truth. They want a reaction. And the moment you react, you give them what they want. They see your weakness. They feel your desperation. And like sharks sensing blood, they attack harder. Look closely. It happens everywhere. In relationships, someone accuses you of being selfish. You explain. You overcorrect. You try to prove how caring you are, and you fall into the frame they created. You play by their rules. You are no longer equal. You are on trial. In business, someone questions your competence. You rush to defend your credentials, list your accomplishments, justify your strategy. You think you're proving your worth, but you're just confirming your insecurity. You just told them, your opinion of me matters more than my own authority. In social circles, someone gossips, spreads lies. You panic. You rush to fix your image, explain yourself to people who don't even matter. And in that chase, you destroy your own dignity. You reduce yourself to a performer, dancing for approval. Do you see it now? Defense equals submission. Defense equals validation of the attack. Defense equals loss of power. And here's what's worse. Even when you win, you lose. Because now you are known as the person who reacts, the person who explains, the person who gets rattled. Your enemies don't need to destroy you. You destroy yourself. The masses don't realize this. They think life is a courtroom and they must always plead their case. But the truth is, life is a battlefield, and the warrior who shows panic gets slaughtered. When you defend, you lower your status. When you defend, you make yourself smaller. When you defend, you surrender the higher ground. And the higher ground is everything. The truly powerful understand. Your value is non-negotiable. Your reputation speaks for itself. Your silence cuts deeper than any argument. The first rule of psychological dominance is this: never defend yourself, because in the game of power, defending is losing. Now we expose the brutal core of power. Here's what they will never tell you. The world is not built on fairness. It is built on dominance. It is built on who controls the frame, who dictates the energy, who refuses to submit. And the one who refuses to defend always controls the frame. Every social interaction, every confrontation, every negotiation is a hidden war for status. Status is everything. Status determines who gets respected, who gets obeyed, who gets followed. And status is never gained through defense. It is gained through dominance. When you refuse to defend, you signal unshakable confidence. You tell the room, "I am above this. This accusation is too small for me. This attack is irrelevant to my power." You communicate that you do not need validation, and that makes people desperately crave yours. Silence becomes power. Calmness becomes intimidation. Indifference becomes dominance. Because when you don't defend, two psychological weapons activate. First, social confusion. Your enemies expect you to react. They prepare for your defense. When you don't give it to them, they stumble. They lose their narrative. They look desperate, trying to pull you into their level. The crowd watching instantly senses you are in control. They doubt the accuser, not you. Second, perception of superiority. By refusing to defend, you place yourself above conflict. Lions do not argue with sheep. Kings do not debate with peasants. You force people to question. If they don't even bother to explain, maybe they really are above it. And just like that, your status rises. You gain the halo effect. People assume you are more powerful, more competent, more respected, simply because you do not scramble for approval. This is the invisible game most people lose before it even starts. They waste energy explaining themselves to nobodies. They burn status chasing approval from irrelevant voices. And they wonder why they're never taken seriously, why they're constantly underestimated. The elite, the true players, they understand. You never defend because it costs you leverage. Leverage comes from detachment. Leverage comes from mystery. Leverage comes from controlling the pace of the interaction, not reacting to it. If someone attacks, you stay silent. If someone accuses, you redirect. If someone questions you, then you respond with a counter-question, shifting the pressure back onto them. You speak when it benefits you. You stay silent when it burns them. This is power in its rawest form, not through noise, but through absence, not through argument, but through superiority, not through defense, but through command. Learn this, and you stop being their target. You become their fear. In your personal life, this principle becomes a weapon, a ruthless weapon, because personal relationships are the arena where people try to control you the most, through guilt, through accusations, through emotional traps. Every argument with a partner, every fight with a friend, every disagreement with family follows the same pattern. They accuse, you defend, and just like that, you are on trial. But you're not supposed to be on trial in your own life. You are supposed to be in control. Every time you defend yourself in personal relationships, you surrender control. You let them set the terms. You let them define the problem. And worst of all, you beg for their approval. Understand this. The more you explain, the more they question. The more you justify, the more they manipulate. The more you defend, the more they control. So you do the opposite. You stop playing their game. When they accuse you of being selfish, you don't apologize, you don't justify. You respond with strength. Maybe you've gotten too used to me giving too much. And silence. When they call you cold, you don't defend your kindness. You say nothing. Because true warmth doesn't need to be announced. When you don't chase their approval, they start chasing yours. This is psychological dominance. Humans are wired to test boundaries. Especially in close relationships, people will push to see how far they can control you. The moment you react, you fail the test. The moment you explain, you drop your value. You must become a fortress, unmoved, unbothered, unbreakable. Your silence punishes. Your calm unnerves. Your refusal to defend flips the dynamic. In love, you become the prize. In friendships, you become the authority. In family, you command respect instead of negotiating for it. Let them throw words. Let them twist stories. You respond with stillness, or if necessary, with sharp redirection. Because in personal life, it's never about winning the argument. It's about maintaining the dominant frame. It's about showing, you cannot destabilize me. You cannot manipulate me. You cannot lower me. The one who defends in relationships loses control. The one who remains calm becomes the center of gravity. They orbit you. They adjust to you. They respect you, or they leave. And either outcome is victory. Master this, and personal life becomes a kingdom, not a courtroom. You will not be judged. You will rule. In the professional world, defending yourself is career suicide. It's the fastest way to signal weakness in the most cutthroat environments. Business isn't about fairness. It's about dominance, influence, and perception. Understand this. The workplace is a constant war of positioning. Every meeting, every negotiation, every interaction is about establishing who controls the frame. The second you defend yourself in front of colleagues, clients, or competitors, you lower your rank. You expose insecurity. You make yourself a target. Look around any organization. The people constantly defending themselves are the ones with no authority. They write long emails explaining why they aren't at fault. They go into meetings with endless excuses. They flood conversations with apologies, justifications, and over-explanations. And they get ignored. Or worse, they get steamrolled. Now, look at those at the top. They don't explain. They don't defend. They state, they decide, they move forward. Because when you defend in business, you validate the attack. When you justify your actions, you broadcast doubt. When you chase approval, you expose your dependence. True power in business comes from unshakable posture. Let them question you. Let them accuse. Let them gossip. Your silence shows confidence. Your refusal to explain shows control. Your indifference shows superiority. And when you do speak, you counterattack. Someone questions your decision. You don't explain the past. You project the future. Results will speak for themselves. Someone calls you too aggressive. You reframe it. Successful leadership requires clarity, not comfort. And you move on. No debate, no apology. You don't stoop to defend your competence. You radiate it through your posture, your decisions, your silence. In business, perception builds authority faster than performance. Defenders get viewed as uncertain and replaceable. Silent operators get viewed as powerful and indispensable. This applies at every level. In job interviews, you don't over-explain gaps or weaknesses. You project strengths. In leadership, you don't defend every unpopular decision. You stand by it confidently and let results follow. In negotiations, you don't chase approval. You position yourself as the prize. The unspoken rule of power in professional life. The more they want you to explain, the less you should say. The more pressure they apply, the calmer you become. The more they expect you to justify, the more you let them burn in their own assumptions. Because in the professional world, defending yourself turns you into a pawn. Refusing to defend transforms you into a king. You don't argue for respect. You command it. You don't fight for your place. You assume it. And the world adjusts accordingly. In social life, the game is even dirtier. Fake smiles, hidden envy, petty gossip, silent competition. And the biggest mistake you can make is chasing approval from people who secretly want to see you fall. This is where most people crumble. They get pulled into drama. They get rattled by whispers. They try to clear their name, prove their intentions, defend their reputation. You will do none of that, because in social dynamics, mystery is power. Indifference is magnetism. Silence is dominance. Let them gossip. Let them misinterpret you. Let them craft their little stories. You don't chase them. You don't correct them. You don't explain anything, because your refusal to defend does something terrifying to people. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to second-guess their own lies. It forces the onlookers to ask, why doesn't he respond? Maybe he doesn't care because he's above all this. And instantly, you rise above the noise. Social groups always target the emotionally reactive, the ones who get flustered. You will be the unreachable presence, calm, collected, silent, powerful. And this makes you magnetic. It makes you the person others respect or secretly fear. It makes you untouchable. Because in every group, the one who doesn't defend becomes the one they can't control. People are drawn to strength. They are obsessed with mystery. They are addicted to presence. And nothing builds those faster than your refusal to engage in petty defense. In the end, whether it's personal life, professional life, or social life, it's all the same game. Who controls the energy? Who owns the frame? Who reacts and who commands? The answer must always be you. You don't defend. You don't explain. You don't kneel. You stand. You lead. You dominate. And that's the lesson most will never learn. But you will apply it. You will embody it. And you will rise. If you found this brutally honest breakdown valuable, subscribe for more no-nonsense power strategies. Like to show you're done playing weak games. Comment if you're ready to flip the script on life and take control. This is not motivation. This is strategy. This is not kindness. This is dominance. This is the art of becoming untouchable. Now go use it.